This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. with free weekly content and free shipping on orders over $150. You can save 5% site-wide by using the promo code MTGMudsta. I'm also sponsored by Face to Face Games, Canada's premier Magic the Gathering store. Using the promo code MTGMudsta will get you 5% off site-wide, with eligible orders getting free shipping Canada-wide. If you're looking for a direct way to help the channel, please consider joining my Patreon and becoming a member of the generic Goblin Gang. Hey gang, and welcome back. Today's got another sweet gameplay coming your way, with Matt playing his Durnan deck, and his background is Haunted One. He keeps Nurturing Peatland, Soul Ring, Realm Walker, Beast Within, Malakir Rebirth, and 3 visits. Dom has built Marneus Calgar, keeping Watery Grave, City of Brass, Brainstorm, Feed the Swarm, Windfall, Revel in Riches, and Bolas' Citadel. I am playing Shorikai, keeping Prairie Stream, Exotic Orchard, Soul Ring, 2 Islands, Mystic Sanctuary, and Thran Dynamo. Jalbel has built Garna Bloodfist, keeping a Mountain, Seasoned Pyromancer, Smothering Abomination, Songmad Treachery, Chaos Warp, Foreboding Ruins, and Reassembling Skeleton. Matt wins the die roll and starts us off. He plays a Nurturing Peatland, losing 1 as he taps it for a Soul Ring. Dom takes 2 to have his Watery Grave come in untapped, and casts a Preordain. He bottoms 1 and keeps 1 on top and then draws it. I have an island for turn and tap it for a Soul Ring. Jalbel plays Songmad Ruins, which comes in tapped and passes. Matt draws and takes another one as he taps the Peatland to cast 3 visits. He finds a Woodland Chasm, which comes in tapped. He then plays a Malakir Mire as his land for turn, and passes. Dom plays an Isolated Chapel, tapping 2 for a Talisman of Hierarchy. I've got an Exotic Orchard for turn, and this lets me tap out in turn 2 for Shorikai. Jalbel plays a Foreboding Ruins, revealing a mountain. He then pays 2 for an Arcane Signet, and passes. Matt has a Swamp for turn, and then taps 4 mana to cast his commander, Durnan, and passes to Dom after that. Dom plays a City of Brass, and then pays 2 for Feed the Swarm. He targets Matt's Durnan, and then takes 4. Dom then passes after his removal resolves. I play an island and tap 4 for Thran Dynamo. I then tap it and an island to cast Fabricate and go to find an artifact, revealing Thunderhawk Gunship to put to hand. I use the 1 remaining colorless that I have floating to activate Shorikai, drawing 2, discarding 1, and making a pilot token. Jalbel plays a High Market as his land for turn, and then casts Garna and passes. Matt plays a Phyrexian Tower, and taps enough for a Sereth the Viper's Fang. He loses another life from the Peatland as he casts a Realm Walker, naming Human, and passes after that. During his end step, Dom casts a Brainstorm. Dom plays a Mana Confluence as his land drop, and boldly casts a Revel in the Riches. My turn has another island coming in, and I then cast the Weatherlight. I ship the turn after that. Jalbel asks if I like having a board, and I reply, yes. He then asks for cards in hand, and finally plays a Mountain. 3 mana is tapped for a Seasoned Pyromancer, and he discards a Reassembling Skeleton and Bedevil, drawing 2 and making some elemental tokens. He then swings Garna at Dom while looking for his tokens, and passes after that. Matt draws for turn and recasts Durnan, then looks at his top card. He swings the Realm Walker at Dom, and passes while Jalbel puts out his rendition of an elemental token. Matt isn't a fan of it though, and gives him the correct token. Dom draws and overloads a dam in his main phase. Responding to this, I activate Shorikai to hopefully dig for a counter, but fail to find one after drawing 2 and discarding an island and making a pilot. With the board wipe still in the stack, Jalbel activates the reassembling skeleton in his yard to bring it back in what I think is a bit of an odd move. His motive becomes clear though, as when everything dies, Garna deals 4 to each of his opponents. Dom then gets a total of 8 treasures after the wipe resolves, and uses some of them for Marneus Calgar, shipping the turn to me. I play a Temple of Enlightenment, scrying 1 and keeping the card on top. I then tap enough for a Thunderhawk gunship, making 2 Astartes warrior tokens. I then tap them to equip the Weatherlight and go to combat. I swing the Weatherlight at Dom, who uses Swords to Plowshares and targets the Weatherlight. I activate Shorikai in response, digging 2 cards deeper, discarding a card, and making a pilot token. Sadly, the Weatherlight is then exiled, and I gain some life and pass after that. Jalbel plays a Tainted Peak and casts a Smothering Abomination. With nothing else, he passes. Matt plays a Rogue's Passage and taps enough for Druid of Purification. The targets picked are Revel in the Riches, the Gunship, and Shorikai, with them all blowing up. Matt then casts the Haunted One and passes after that. Dom draws and goes straight to combat. He swings Marneus Calgar at Jalbel, dealing a total of 6 commander damage. Dom's second main phase has an Arcane Signet then coming in, and he passes after that. My turn has a Mystic Sanctuary coming in, meeting the criteria to put Fabricate on top. I then cast Shorikai and activate it to draw 2, discard a card, and make a pilot. I then have enough to cast a Cultivator Caravan, passing after that. During my end step, Jalbel brings back his reassembling skeleton. On Jalbel's upkeep, he sacrifices the skeleton to the Abomination trigger, drawing from it and then for turn. He then plays out a Blood-Soaked Champion, and then casts a Skull Clamp. He clamps the champion, drawing 2. Jalbel then heads to combat and swings the Abomination at Matt for 4. In his second main phase, he brings back the champion from the yard with its ability and passes. Matt draws and recasts Durnan. He then just passes after that. Dom is low on lands, but that doesn't stop him from casting a Grim Hireling. He goes to combat, swinging Marneus at Jalbel, dealing another 6 damage. He gets a treasure token from the 2 Hireling triggers, and the tokens come in, each triggering Marneus Calgar and drawing Dom 2 cards. My turn has me casting a Reaper Titan, and I then follow up by casting Fabricate to go and find a Mirage Mirror. I then pass after that, with Jalbel once more bringing back the skeleton. He sacrifices it on his upkeep and draws from the Abomination and for turn. He then pays 2 for a Mog War Marshal, making a token as it comes in. He then clamps the Mog, drawing 2 and making another token as it dies. Jalbel then plays out Blood Artist and goes to combat. He swings the champion at Dom and the Abomination at Matt. They both take the hits, and he passes after that. Matt dashes out a Mardu Strike Leader and goes straight to combat. He swings everything at me and gets his Haunted One trigger and makes a 2/1 warrior token from the Strike Leader trigger. He also gets a Durnan trigger, but sadly whiffs off of it. Before moving to blocks, I crew up the Titan and block Durnan, but take the rest. Durnan then comes back from the Undying trigger after dying, and in Matt's second main phase, he sacrifices the Strike Leader to Phyrexian Tower for 2 black mana. It comes back from Undying as well, and he taps a green to help cast Beast Within, targeting the Skull Clamp. Jalbel responds with a Bolt Bend, but Dom quickly puts a stop to that with Fierce Guardianship. Matt passes after that. Dom plays a Polluted Delta as his land for turn, and sacrifices it to go and find an island. He then casts an Ominous Seas, and follows up with a Windfall. I activate Shorikai, but can't find a counterspell yet, and we pitch our hands and draw a fresh 7. Dom then loses 1 from the City of Brass to sacrifice a treasure and try and take out the Blood Artist with Grim Hireling's ability. The Blaris dies, and Jalbel drains Dom for 1. Dom then passes, and during the end step, Jalbel uses Tragic Slip to take out the Grim Hireling. My turn has a command tower coming in, and I activate Shorikai to draw 2, discard 1, and make a pilot. I then cast Thirst for Knowledge, doing something similar but getting no pilot token. I then play out a Mirrodin Besieged and name Phyrexian, but only have 5 artifacts in the yard so far. Before moving to combat, I used 2 pilots to crew up the Reaper Titan and swing it at Matt. This triggers the Titan's on attack trigger, dealing 5 to each of my opponents. Matt then can't really block except for Durnan, which he doesn't want to lose, and decides to take the 10. In my second main phase, I cast a Smuggler's Thopter, and then pass, getting my Besiege trigger during my end step. Jalbel sacrifices a Goblin token to the Abomination, drawing from it and then for turn. He plays a Genesis Chamber and follows up with a Carrion Feeder, making a Mirror token. Jalbel then sacrifices the Mirror with the Feeder, drawing from the Abomination and adding a counter to the Feeder. He then drops some Mana Rocks with a Rakdos Signet and a Cold Steel Heart. Jalbel then does another Goblin Dirty with the Feeder, drawing again, and passes. At the end of turn, Matt cracks the Nurturing Peatland to draw a card, and then draws as he moves to his turn. Five mana then goes into an Aether Snap, and we remove all counters from all permanents and all tokens. He follows that with an Eternal Witness, getting back his Beast Within, and getting a Mirror token as well. As Matt says he'll move to combat, I use Dispatch on Durnan to exile it, as I have Metalcraft active. Dom gets in on this action as well, casting Vampiric Tutor to lose 2 life, and find a card to put on top. Matt then moves through his combat step, sacrificing the token to the tower for mana, and casts a Wild Beastmaster before passing. Dom draws and adds a counter to his Ominous Sea. He then plays a Plains, and goes at me with Marneus Calgar, dealing 6 commander damage. He then plays out a Felwar Stone, and passes. My turn has me playing a Ghost Quarter, and I then activate Shorikai, drawing 2, discarding 1, and making a pilot. I then pay 3 mana for a Digsite Engineer, and use the pilot to crew up the Cultivator, and then the Cultivator to crew up the Reaper Titan, and the Digsite to crew up the Smuggler's Thopter. Dom responds before moving to attackers, overloading a Cyclonic Rift, and taking some damage from his Pain Lands. Jalbel isn't super into this though, and counters it with a Tybalt's Trickery, rolling for Dom to mill 2 cards first. Dom then reveals a Bitter Blossom, which replaces the Rift. Moving to combat, and Thopter at Matt. With the Titans on attack trigger, dealing 5 to all of my opponents. Even with a block, Matt still gets taken out, and I pass after that. Jalbel sacrifices the champion to the Abomination trigger on his upkeep, drawing from it, and then for turn. He plays a Swamp and casts a Zulaport Cutthroat, making a Mirror token. He then recasts Garna, making another Mirror token as she comes in. He then brings back the skeleton by paying 2, and sacrifices it to the Feeder. This has a trigger from the Cutthroat, draining his opponents for 1, and Garna dealing 1 to us, with Dom dying as a result. Jalbel then does this again, dealing 2 more, and quickly shortcuts by sacrificing the Mirror tokens to drain me for another 5 and deal another 5. Going to combat, he swings the Abomination and Feeder at me, dealing 11. He then sacrifices the Abomination and finishes me off with the Pings. Game review time. So unfortunately we didn't get to see much of Matt's Durnan and Haunted One deck, although there did seem to be some tribal elements, with the Realmwalker being named for humans. Beyond that, we only saw a few pieces of removal, and it was kinda cool to see Aether Snap getting played in such an effective way. Dom's Marneus Calgar deck unfortunately also kinda struggled. He didn't have enough mana to activate Marneus to get the draws from that, and the Revel in Riches didn't last long enough because it was such a threat. I did like his tech with Ominous Seas though, which is a card I hope to see more of. With the new 40k cards in mind, I'm really excited to get to see them and play them in Shorikai now. That Reaver Titan did a lot of damage, and if I'd had something like Kotori out giving it lifelink, I would have been gaining 25 points of life per swing, which seems fantastic. The Thunderhawk gunship was also great, since as it enters it builds enough creatures to be able to crew itself, and I'm a little bit sad I wasn't able to attack with it. Jalbert's Garna deck was just a value train, with him drawing upwards of 3+ cards a turn it seems like. That last turn was particularly spicy, with him draining me down from like 30, and making it seem so easy. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Multizone, Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.